Battles. Canadian troops first arrived on the front lines in Belgium in early part of 1915. Although there were many battles in World War I, we are going to examine four major battles in which the Canadian Expeditionary Force played a role. The Second Battle of Ypres in 1915, Battle of the Somme in 1916, the Battle of Vimy Ridge in 1917, and the Battle of Passchendaele in 1917. Let's read the details of each battle below together, then be ready to do some more thinking. The Second Battle of Ypres, 1915. On April 22, 1915, the Germans began their attack at Ypres, Belgium, using chlorine gas. Although the use of gas was against international law, it became used throughout the war. Soldiers were not prepared, and as the gas drifted across the battlefield, soldiers fled in fear, trying to escape. Many were suffocated to death or terribly wounded. In order to combat the effects of the gas, soldiers covered their mouths with cloth soaked in water or urine. Despite these difficulties, Canadians stood their ground. The battle lasted over a month. Against the odds, the Germans were unsuccessful in their attempt to break through the line. The Canadian forces proved themselves in this first battle, however the costs were high. In their defense of Ypres, 6,714 Canadians were wounded, killed, or taken as prisoners of war. The Battle of the Somme in 1916. The Battle of the Somme is commonly known as the Bloodbath. It started as a British offensive, lasted 5 months, and resulted in more than 1.25 million casualties. That's combined between both sides, including 24,000 Canadians. Why was this battle such a failure? The artillery did not destroy the German barbed wire as planned. The strategies used were outdated and useless in trench warfare, and both sides stubbornly would not give up. The lack of effective tactics sent wave after wave of troops into no man's land to be mowed down by German machine guns. The Battle of Vimy Ridge in 1917. From Vimy Ridge, you could get a good look at the surrounding area. The Germans were able to see our supply routes when we were mobilizing and our positions. The French and British had been trying to capture the ridge for 2 years. The Canadians were called to task. All 4 Canadian divisions would fight together for the first time. Lieutenant General Julian Byng and British officer carefully planned the attack under the watchful eye and leadership of Arthur Currie, commander of the 1st Canadian Division. They completed drills for 2 months in preparation for the attack on Vimy Ridge. Canadians used a strategy known as the creeping barrage, where an artillery barrage would destroy barbed wire that lay in the path of soldiers. It cleared the way for Canadian troops to advance. They practiced advancing using the Vimy glide of 100 yards every 3 minutes to ensure they did not enter the line of fire. One soldier described it as resembling a lawnmower in front of them, churning the ground. This success came at a price of 10,600 casualties. All of the hard work and training paid off for the Canadians. This battle marked the first time all Canadian divisions fought together. Their success fueled a strong sense of nationalism and pride, adding to our reputation of being a strong fighting force. I would watch this video right here, which is narrated by William Shatner, but gives a very clear picture as to what happened at Vimy Ridge. The Battle of Passchendaele, 1917. The objective was to capture the Belgian village of Passchendaele. Poor weather conditions made it difficult for soldiers to advance. The rain filled shell holes to the brim, and men had to wade through water that was waist high at times. In the end, the Allies gained 8 kilometers, which was lost several months later back to the Germans. Canadians earned the reputation of being the best defensive soldiers. Although victorious, 4,000 Canadians perished in this battle. 12,000 more were wounded. For your next portfolio upload, here are your instructions. Open a Google Doc and use the title Unit 1 Activity 4, Portfolio B. Using our lesson, answer the following questions as best you can. Use slides 40 to 46 to help. What new fighting strategies were successfully introduced in the battles that you just looked at? Did Canadian soldiers avoid extensive suffering? Explain using evidence from the lesson. Which battle do you think was the most successful? Explain using evidence from the lesson. Once you are done, upload your work to your portfolio. And once you finish that, then you can move over to the Unit 1 Activity 4 quiz. All you need to do is click on quizzes and then look for the Unit 1 Activity 4 quiz, Historical Significance of World War I Battles and Strategy. The quiz has 15 true or false questions. You may have all of our lesson content open to help you. Once you start the quiz, just make sure that you click submit at the end. And I've also set it so that you can attempt it twice, and I will only count your highest mark.